Right, guys, we are down here at the PGA Golf Show with the one and only Roger Cleveland. It is a pleasure and an honour. It is a real pleasure. And we're going to ask a few quick-fire questions to Mr. Wedge himself, because you've been in the wedge game for a long time now.
I miss a lot of greens. That's why.
I don't believe. This is a question I wanted to ask you. How is your short game? Did this all stem from a bad short game from you, or is it something you've just been passionate about all the time?
Well, both. I've been passionate for sure.
Yeah.
But I've always had a pretty decent short game.
Okay. So was it?
And a big student of the short game. I love the great teachers that teach the short game. I learn from them, like Peter Cowan, who I think is fabulous. And so I learn every time I get a chance to be with Peter, for example. I soak it in, real sponge.
You take all the information. I mean, he works with some of the greatest players. So, when you started to come into the wedge game, what was your main goal for wedge? Was it just to help players all around the world, or was it mainly focused on tour pros? What was your main goal?
Well, initially, when I first started, was working with a tour player.
Yeah.
But if you got the tour player liking your wedge, the best technique that there was that these guys employed, you could bring that to the amateur, to us all.
So you could grow it from that point.
Absolutely.
So go on.
But it's both. You have to have proper technique. And that's what the amateurs really don't understand.
Yeah.
They think it's an extension of your big swing, and it's not. It's a totally different swing. But you got to use the sole. That's why we have 3 grinds on our new wedges, and plus the PM as a fourth grind. And so it's understanding how to use that rather than the deadly leading edge.
As a coach as well, it's something that I see a lot of golfers that digging that front edge in, and it's such. You've got to be very, very precise doing that for the amateur, for the general amateur.
Absolutely. You've got to be very shallow to be lucky enough to use it properly. And rarely is anybody that good.
And unrepeatable.
Yes.
Very inconsistent ball flights.
And when you get the grass growing against you, the grain growing against you, it's like game over.
Who is the best, and I think I probably know the answer to this, who's the best wedge player you've worked with?
You know the answer.
I know. Is this one designed by?
This guy right here.
So Mr. PM himself.
Mr. PM himself. Phil is this.
Is it just amazing to watch up close?
Yeah. I mean, it makes some of the same sounds as some of the other guys.
Yeah.
But he actually doesn't care if he hits a little bit behind it because he's using the sole.
Yeah.
He lets it slide. Yeah. He reads the lie well. Okay, and just uses it.
So his divot would be generally shallow. He wouldn't take big divots.
No.
If divots at all.
No, very shallow.
And
he's releasing. He calls it hinge and hold, and I like to call it rotation and release. But when he's releasing, then he's holding that release.
So does he hold the loft on that release?
Yes,
that's his trick.
And he's holding. He doesn't have a lot of wrist break. Okay. Wrist break is fine for your big swing.
Yeah.
On a pitch shot, you don't want that because you got to release that, and that delays the release of the head and so you don't get the sole on the ground fast enough. So
if we were to think from that Phil Mickelson idea, less wrist hinge is a good thing.
Less wrist hinge, you can rotate. You got to rotate to set the lob, so you set the position that the wedge gets in this position, so you can use the sole.
Yeah, and this was it. I mean, this is one of the most extreme-looking wedges that's ever been made.
Some people call it really ugly, but it's really effective.
Yeah.
Okay. And this wedge came about is really by Phil using a competitor's wedge, and he was afraid in rough to go right underneath the ball with the conventional wedge.
I get you.
There wasn't enough territory up here.
Enough real estate.
So we added some real estate up here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I welded 2 wedges together. We had.
Is that right?
Yes, right. Yeah. And beautifully welded, and he used that wedge. Okay, that exact wedge. I brought it to him Monday of the PGA at Valhalla.
Yeah.
And he used it. Almost won. Mr. McElroy edged him out.
And it was a wedge, 2 wedges you put together.
Yeah.
And did you have to go through a lot of conforming lists to do that?
No, I would have had to had I extended the grooves up here.
Right.
But I took a Sharpie and lined them in because I didn't have the time. He just wanted some mass up there.
Did you have to do a lot of conforming to get the grooves right out to the toe here?
Well, no, that was his idea. When we commercialized it, Chip Brewer, our president, said, "Listen, this is fabulous. Let's put it out in the market because people will like it."
Yeah.
And so Phil said, "Well, let's put the grooves all the way out and take a look at it." We actually truncated the lower grooves here because when you open it up, it makes it look longer.
Yeah.
It looks like a shovel.
No, it looks huge.
Yeah, it looks huge. That's why we actually came out with it. We have a new black one now for this year because it makes them, anytime you wear black, it makes you look a little small.
I've gone the wrong way. I've gone stripes.
That's what I have.
I've gone stripes. So
I don't have stripes.
with it being also in black, and because what does Mickelson playing it in 64? Is that his most popular 62?
No, he has 64.
With it being black, does that have less glare as well?
Yeah.
For you,
But the chrome is kind of a milky chrome, so it doesn't reflect.
Right, it's
We
not
don't
super
have
shiny.
Not the bright chrome. Purposely.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
One last question. From the future golfers you see coming up in the game, who do you think could challenge Phil Mickelson's short game? The golfers that are currently growing, and you guys like obviously Jordan Spieth, putting, he is on fire at the moment. Well,
Off the charts.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you notice?
His short game is really, really good too.
Because he doesn't hit an awful lot of greens compared to some of the greats that have been before him.
Well, I think the guys that are up there, you see all the guys that are up there. They set these courses up. I don't know what we would shoot. Okay.
I don't think I'd break 100.
No.
Have you played Augusta?
Yes, and not from back there.
Yeah.
I would. I don't know if I could walk it.
But the fairways look a mile away.
A mile away. So.
Who do you think's coming up? Do you reckon Spieth
Well,
is
no,
good?
I think
McIlroy?
all of them. McIlroy.
Let's go back
Spieth,
here.
And Justin Day.
Yeah.
Go up there.
Jason Day.
Jason
Excuse
Day,
me. I mean, he has an amazing short game. But see how wide they are?
Yeah.
See how wide they are?
Wide and
They're
shallow.
not wide and shallow.
Yeah.
And when they take that short game, they're not a lot of risk on.
No.
Okay?
You don't need that transfer of energy, do you, as well?
Well, you don't have the time in a short swing. You don't have the time to get that sole on the ground. If you're rotated and extended, you can get that on the ground.
Quickest tip, last thing.
That's-
I was going to say,
that's a good
quick.
tip.
Is that the best thing to do? The quickest tip, if you was to give a tip to anyone watching right now as a short game struggler, less wrist hinge.
Well, rotate those arms in front of your body. Here's your big swing. Okay, I don't know if you can get that.
I will do.
Okay,
Go on, you carry.
James.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
You good?
Great stuff.
All good?
Yep, real good. Catch up.
I'll see you on the floor.
Okay. So here is your big swing. Your arms go back and you start to rotate about halfway.
Yeah. So
On a wedge shot, okay, you want your arms to rotate right away. Now my wrists aren't doing anything. My arms are rotating, and see the face.
It stayed
you're setting
up.
aloft.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're setting the position so this can come down, and you hit the ground without that leading edge.
Perfect. Roger, that was a huge pleasure. It was an honour and a pleasure to not only meet you, but get the chance to talk to you in this really personal way. Amazing wedges, amazing ideas and concepts around the idea of how you can help golfers all around the world with short game. Not only working with the best golfers in the world, the best short game player in the whole of the world and possibly it's ever lived. Roger, thanks very much.
Well, it's a pleasure.
And we'll see you all soon.
Cheers.